Good day, gentlemen and ladies. The subject of my video today will be the Backhoe. Now the Backhoe, it's a 23B, 23 Bravo model. It's a Mahindra, but it's made by TYM, as you can see by the manual book operating. It's right there. It's made in Seoul, Korea. Alright, so what I'm gonna tell about that video, on this video, it's everything that I modified, that we modify, me and my best friend Joe, which he did a lot of things on my backhoe, and I did some smaller things. And I want to talk about it. I also talk about the tips, the various maintenance tips, and the some preventive maintenance on the backhoe itself. This video will be all about backhoe. So if you are a backhoe owner, a Mahindra 23 Bravo backhoe owner, and there's some good information for various type of backhoe, even bigger or subcompact, because this is the smallest backhoe you can have, made by TYM or Mahindra, because they work in partnership, both of them. The first thing I'm going to say right away, and you know where I'm going with my book, is please be very knowledgeable about your book. Read it often. This is the best source of information, even before your dealer. If you have the second one, will be your dealership. But the book in there, made by Mahindra and TYM, it's outstanding. Like, I all have my markers where I can find my info. And the first part, I'm going to be very brief about the book, but I'm just going to show you some good information about the book itself. It's called the Operator's Manual for Backhoe. It's the 23B manual. And now the first page, which is very important, and it's even there, right there. It's the page is 16. We urge you to follow this advice, and the first advice they told you is read and understand this manual as well as the tractor operator manual. So this is the first very most important tips than the book and myself. Keep your books, read it, and refresh your memory often during the year as you operate it. Alright, so this is my best advice. All the rest are important too. Remember and observe the safety, use good common sense, never exceed the limit of the piece of machinery. Don't hurry to learn, take your time learning the process. Alright, this is very important. The other one I put, there's many good diagram on the book itself. Is very well made for that. And so I'm gonna just go through the pages. And the first warning, one thing I want to take you is the schedule for, this is on page 23. Alright, I hope you see it. On page 23, it said lubrication and maintenance, and here is all the spec, like hydraulic system oil level. Well, I have just done it, but as specified in the tractor operator and everything. The only one I want you take a good look, but the one they completely but really missed out is the bolt and nut release, the retorquing. It's not every 24 hours, as you can see here. All right, I hope you see it very well. It's not, it's 9 to 12 hours. And I have many videos. The first time, I think I had more, I passed over 24 hours. I was 25. And Joe was telling me, hey Dave, something's going on. And I had many discussion videos. And I went to see the book. He said, yeah, it's only 24 hours. And trust me, when I checked the bolt, they were mostly 3/4 of them, like I had 27 bolts, they were loose. And as I was learning and as I was using it, by the way, I'm rough estimate 150 hours on it, and it was pure joy, therapy, backhoe therapy. And when I come into like common sense, even on soft soil or hard soil, it's between 9 to 12 hours. I do recheck it. So I checked it after I removed the backhoe and before I removed the backhoe, because it's easier to get access. And when the backhoe is on and I'm using it, I retorque it between 9 to 12 hours. And this is on page 23 on the manual. I tried to keep the video short, but just please do read the manual. The other page is this is take the time to reach that. The page is 29, all the torque settings. All right, and just remember between the SA Sierra Alpha Echo bolts and the metric bolts, there's an increased torque when it's unplated and either dry or lubricated with engine oil, or when you use the metric, reduce to 15% reduce. If it's hardware that is extreme pressure, lubricate plating, or hard washer application. So there's stuff like that, and like what's UNC, like here, you have the type of bolt, the grade, the pinch. The pinch is the distance between the treads. Also, what's a UNC mean and UNF? UNC is Unified Coarse Tread, or UNF is a Unified Fine Tread. Okay, so UNC is like the threads are thicker, and UNF is like when it's a finer thread. Okay, and the type of grade. There's a lot of information on that page, because you're gonna use that page to find out. Like if I go here on page the right after, like here's the knot. It gives you it's an M12 bolt. And then you go, okay, it's an M12 bolt. Now on the boat itself, you're gonna find what type of grade it is. The schedule is there, and what's the pinch, and how much pound per feet or Newton meter you're gonna apply. So be very knowledgeable about that page. And by the way, I'm getting Alzheimer, so it's really nice to like you see I highlight stuff, I read it, okay, what's that mean? I read it there, okay, I know the thread. So be common on that. And then the page after, like it's all the diagram. If I go here, this is this is the mounting bracket. Mounting brackets on page 32. And that's where you're gonna find your torque. This is these are the bolts where they mostly get loose. All right, that's the one and what it doesn't say on that book is the two bolts on the top, right under the seat, who hold the plate. I already made a video about that, and those are the very important bolts, because these are the lower, but there's only two bolts on the top to keep the structural integrity, and it's very important. Like, and when you torque, you also torque the tractor. So when you have the backhoe, yes, you torque all the mounting plates, and here there's not too bad on the backhoe itself, but you have to torque also the tractor, like the ropes, because everything is working in there. So you have to torque everything. All right. What else I have in that interesting book? 5. Okay, this is all the parts. I'm just gonna go through it very fast. All everything here. Also there's the when you order the backhoe, or when your dealer install the backhoe, there's also the seat. Under the seat, they install the mechanism to have the seat rotating. So that's why this is such a very neat thing about the seat like that. I don't need a second seat. You just lift the seat, twist it, and that's it. And I have many videos. I'm gonna put some video in description on, but you can see very well on my. I think I passed 300 videos, but it's. I'm gonna put the link videos about you see me moving the seat. All right. And what will be the last one? I think that will be it. I just oh yes, the diagram of the hydraulics, what type of fittings, attachment, everything is in there. Like the stabilizer cylinder on each side, the swing cylinder, the dipstick cylinder, the bucket cylinder, the boom cylinder. So everything is there. So just to make sure start about my almost 11 minutes of videos, please be knowledgeable about your book. All right, take the time to read it, mark it. Like mine, you can see already it's dirty because I use it often, before and after. Just make sure I have, and use the proper grease. These things have a tendency to get warm. Of course, you use it, so use thick grease. It's very important. And when you store it for the winter, if you have a winter, use remove that. Just put a new like synthetic light grease, so the grease won't dry during the winter time. If you store it outside, it will be very important because it's more exposed to cold environment. Here it's always warm, never freeze. So my backhoe, my tractor, everything. But if you do expose your backhoe, you cover it with a tar. Make sure it's covered with oil everywhere. But use synthetic grease thinner. So when you re-grease it for the hot season, the grease won't be dry in there. All right. So let's start now about the various modification, adding tips on the backhoe. And I'm gonna start from the back of it before we install it, and then I'm gonna go forward. All right, so please, oh yes, if you have any question, please ask me. I'm very happy to, I always, when you ask me question, it's always in reference with the book, or I can make a phone call to your dealer, to my dealer, or you can ask your dealer, but please, all the info is in there. All right, so let's lower ourselves. I'm gonna talk about the rear part of the backhoe. Stick around, cheers. Now, before I drop myself to the ground to show, one thing I like to show you is, since I'm doing welding in my garage or grinding, I always cover all the exposed cylinder part with a rag. So there's a rag right there. So there ain't gonna have any spot welding or very warm sticking into the hydraulic exposed part. The other thing, just before I expose the hydraulics, go outside, I use silicone UAV protection. You can find that everywhere. It's the same stuff that you put on your tent, because it's all made of nylon, and you spray all the hydraulic oils, and that will help to keep them flexible under the harsh sun condition that you may have. And so that silicone spray, the silicone itself will make the rubber not drying out, and the UV protection will help to keep the rubber and the protection on the hose. All right, so let's go down. Before, what I've done on the backhoe itself, I installed these plates here on each side, and basically these plates are a very thin foil. It's the book separator coming from a large library, and I spot weld them around. Why? Because if you don't have that, remember the tractor back up here and the wings over the wheels, when you have your boots like that, I'm just gonna remove my shoes. It's basically, when you have your boots here, the fiberglass wing was stuck in there, and as I was going, I really stuck my leg, my foot, it was stuck like that because of the fence, the wheel fence. Oh, I forgot the word, sorry about that, but the mud protection against the wheel. So by putting these, basically my shoes it helped to protect my shoes, but also I ain't gonna get stuck. And it's easy to do. If basically I fold it and I put like beep 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 a little bit of and I use my MIG. But if you use a very small AC stick welding rod, you can do it, because the plate here is quite thick in the bottom. You will have no problem in that one too, but I use my my MIG, but with an AC will be no problem. Arc welding, what I mean. All right. Now the other thing in the back, what I do on the fall or in the spring is I clean everything under here. Like, just hold on, I'm gonna get a rag. And usually I do that during the fall, because there's a lot of mud, which there's a little bit of dust because of the winter, but like I remove all the dust in there, all the, and if the area here is clean, look at those, all of these hoses coming out from the hydraulic here. So keeping it clean, and those hoses does move, all right, because of the vibration, fixation of the moving of the boom. So by keeping it clean, it helps for protecting the hose, and also you can do a good inspection if you have any oil leak and stuff like that. Now, it's way much easier to grease that little zerk here when the tractor, you would be, I have to, but since you're it's already removed, just before I install it, I'm gonna put a very thick grease. I'm gonna be very generous, make sure it's because this one, it's tough going to install, and there's not too much place. You need to, I go by the top, and then it's tough going. So all right, now I just want to show you tricks that I've done. Is this is the two hoses which I connect together, who give the power, the hydraulic power to the backhoe. Now you can see here that I call that a scuff pad. Basically, you can use anything made of neoprene or leather, or you know, all those winter boots from your wife or even yourself, but they're made of leather. You can cut a piece, wrap it around, and you attach it with a tie wrap, double tie wrap. And because what happened in that hose here gets scuffed with the back of the tractor, and even if it's a protection, it's protected, it will cut off at a long time. And now that I installed that, there's no more problem. There's that hose here. This is the hose coming from the left part, and that thing was rubbing from that cylinder here. That cylinder moved a little, and it was rubbing, and also rubbing against here. And I can see the chaffing happening. So I put another scuff pad. This one is brand new from this year. So, but that one was done 2 years ago. On the back itself, except those two here and the scuff pad, I clean everything, because in there's a lot of place where the dirt gets set in, all right? And by keeping it clean, you have a good, you can do a good structural integrity check if you have cracks and stuff like that. All right. So I just remove my knee so I can, at least you can look at it. I'm just gonna put the lights, I hope. So there's a lot of lights, and you can also spray silicone spray in there, because that will remind the hose flexible. All right. Now during the winter time, I put the two caps together, because if you leave it like that, I mean, that's it. Now for these pins on each side, what I do is I completely clean it. I remove all the grease, the sand, because of course there's dust, stuff like that. I do a good inspection on them. I didn't clean the hole, and then I put it inverted. Usually I go like this, and then I put the safety pin, so that would be inside. But in the winter time, I put it the opposite side. It's for me just easier. All right. These are the holes for the safety pin from the bucket to keep the bucket up and not swimming around. So just make sure it's all clean in there. Okay. Now it's gonna be tough going, but I'm gonna go on the other side, because I want to show you how to remove that plate in there, because I told you there's an important thing you need to clean up in there and double check. All right. So please stick around. Cheers. All right, another small tips is you know those pins on each side, if you paint it yellow, it's much easier as you back up to hook it on the tractor itself. So those are the two pins holding, And then after that you install these. Another tips is take a cover during the winter time and cover the entire box. And for me, that used to be another sewing project. But when I travel long distance, I put the cover like this so it's brighter so people can see me also. Not so much from the back because I have lights, stuff like that, but on the side of the tractor, it's bright stuff, alright? Small tips, cheers. Alright, the reason why you want to remove that cover plate, the main reason I had is I was questioning myself how clean it was in there, and also it was tough going to clean the rubber coussinet around the control in here, so it was very hard, and the same was applying for the Outrigger hydraulics. So to remove that plate is very not complicated. There's only 2 bolts here on the top and 2 bolts here on the side, and that when these are removed, you can easily, I'm just gonna lift it straight, and voila. All right, now you know me, I already cleaned it very well. I'm just gonna put that there. Now with the light, what I've done once it's removed, all right, so I basically just use a rag and I remove all the dust between the rubber, and then I put a good I will put a good silicone so the rubber are not drying and they're very tender, all right? Like the same type of silicone you can use if you're doing diving, all right? So I remove all because they have like a lot of dust, and dust with the time will make the rubber to cut. I did the same with the control here, and I clean everything. Like I passed the rag like this, and it was a great evening during the week. Sometimes you need to touch something related to your tractor during the week. You don't want to start the engine, but I was cleaning like that. Now I didn't do any modification. I just clean and I inspect all the hoses in there. The modification that I've done on my videos, when I have the black plate here, the cover plate, that thing vibrates a lot because they put the bolt right here. There's 2 modifications to keep, and it's making a lot of rattle noise. So I just gotta make sure, just hold up. Alright, so I hope you do see that. So that thing vibrating against the thick plate in there, and so some of my video you can see I was putting like a white birch firewood log, like a split it in half, and then I was putting there. So what I've done now that I don't need to do that, I just basically glue a 2 scuff pad. I'm just gonna put the light here. You can see I glue there, so the scuff pad, it's really embedded in these rubber. But anyway, so that will keep the not vibrate, they won't vibrate anymore. So that was a good modification. And once the plate is installed, it will be seated firmly. Or you can just simply, I'm just gonna put it back right here. You can just simply put another two bolts, 2 holes in here, and that will keep it firmer and no problem. It's your choice, but for me, like I just, and that thing when it's attached here, it won't even vibrate anymore. Now, the plates inside, of course, I cleaned it very well. They had no sign of vibration or corrosion because I keep it very. And also, if by the way, you can order, if you have stickers peeling, you can order them directly at your dealer. Now for the compartment here, what I've done is I check. There's 4 bolts holding this hydraulic unit, control unit, and I just check, and the bolt were not even move. So yeah, it's very important. What else? Alright, so everything is tight, I had no leak, everything is dry. If it's a leak, just retight it, investigate. If it's on the hydraulic side, take your time, ask question, alright? Because like here, it's the main supplying, like the return line and everything, that's easy. But there's something under here, like, just investigate, alright? My good friend from Louisiana, I forget your name, I'm gonna put it there. He had a problem with his Massey Ferguson, his control, but and he made an outstanding video about it, like how he fixed it and how he took the time. I think it was more on this side, right? So enough said on the control panel. I'm just gonna put it back, and then I'm gonna screw it everything around. All right. By the way, all the boats are rated. There's a sign on it, so on the book itself, it's easy to know exactly what's the ratings. All right, so I'm just gonna finish the torque kit and stick around. This is the footstep that you use to climb up. It's a great idea to paint it yellow or whatever, a bright color, because since it's a black color, sometimes with the sun it's really not easy. And one time I really went through, I didn't know what it was, but I painted it a bright color. It's certainly more easier to see, and as you go out, it's easier to see too. So just a small tips. All right, cheers. Now the best modification installation on my backhoe, it was coming from my best friend Joe Lesage from Steel to Wood, and the Outrigger protecting angle iron. Because these, I will leave the link video. One time I was working with Joe on for making a trench for the water, a culvert basically, and it was a rocky soil. He was in his former house in Shepherd Mountain, and as I was removing a large boulder rock, a larger rock, the rock almost fell directly on my Outrigger cylinder, and he will damage it. So Joe, with his great genius, he made a video about it on his channel. I'm gonna leave it's very easy to make. I mean, it's 2 angle iron, and you just have to remove these are the there's enough space to install it. They're I'd say it's 1/4 thick, or yeah, not even that is closer. And I just put it at the most. It cut it at the most extension, and as it's redrawing, it goes all the way to here, so it's not interfering. And by the way, I use these plates often to climb on the tractor. There's a step on the other side. You can put your foot, but the second foot, that's where I put my, often I use my rigger there. Now, one other thing I've done, so it's not still, I paint the inside in my famous word signature safety. I simply use contact cement glue. I remember the word now. I put 3 coats on the I use a sand. I sand the paint to make it rough. And I did the same with the rubber piece. You can use whatever type of rubber you can have. And I put it on the top and on the side, because that will cover the top and on the side. So if the rock is gonna hit, it's not gonna, the steel ain't gonna touch the cylinder. It's gonna be protected like a kind of rubberized shock absorber. All right. And then just reinstall it. And these are the scuffing surfaces. And on the paint, I mean, I've been using it, and this is very easy mod to do. I mean, the video of Joe, I remember, is very short. All right. So you install them on both sides, and that will give you plenty confidence, because stuff does, when you dump it close and you start to accumulate, thing will fall, and it's a great dust and also protection. All right. One thing I would like to mention is, yes, there's a lot of grease point, everything related with the hydraulics, up and down, whatever attached to the hydraulic, there's grease nuts, grease zerks, but everything like here, there's no grease at all. So I use SAA synthetic oil. It's a non-SAA 30 synthetic oil, so it's not an engine oil. You can use it as engine, but there's no soap. and I keep these lubricated so no corrosion will occur, and also I clean it at the on the fall and springtime. Okay, and you can see the hoses are bending and stuff like that, so that's why by recovering with silicone and UV protection, you protect your investment, because these things aren't cheap. I think I pay more than 3,000 Canadian dollar for it, but I can give you, if you ask me, I can look at the price exactly. Now, just go around. Yes, I'm gonna talk to you on the back part of it, and we're almost done with the video, by the way. All right. Now, for other modification that I will do, probably I don't know when, but Joe gave me like a bumper pad, like it's a thick, to install on each side. So when the backhoe go hit, it's not gonna go on steel to steel like you can see here. There's some wear and tear. And the same thing on each side here. By putting a rubber pad, it's gonna hit the rubber pad act like a spring bumper, shock absorber basically. All right, so that will be another incoming modification that I should have done about a couple months ago, if not 2 years ago. But sometimes time is short. All right, cheers. Now for the back part of the video, I just want to know, before you grease the zerk, please remove all the grease previously, alright? And then you grease it and then clean it again. Why do you clean it again? Is so the sand or the dust or whatever you moving, it won't stick into the grease part, and so you won't going to end up clogging your zerk. There's one trick I like to show you. The zerk here on the top, just hold on. The zerk here on the top, if you grease it in that position, there's no air escaping. Alright, it's a simple trick. It's just move the backhoe on the side, and then suddenly, whoop, it will be really easy. I discovered that. I thought at the beginning I clogged the zerk, the little ball in there. But as soon as I move it on the side, whoop, the thing was really easy, and I can see the grease. Now, for the cleaning side of the house, there's various stages holding the backhoe here. So it's quite important to remove all the grease and the dirt, and trust me, it was filled with greasy hurt or whatever I used to move, and I remove everything, because that and the time it does touch the main support, the pin, and that would wear it down quite easy. So by cleaning it, like I just put the rag on each side, and then I just pass it around like this, and then I use a screwdriver, you know, remove all everything. Now there's guys gonna use their pressure water. You know what I think about pressure water on tractors and implement. It's not good, all right? I'm stubborn on that. Use a good clean rag, screwdriver, no problem. If you do, you are fanatic about washing, just remember, re-grease everything, re-oil everything, because water pressure will create corrosion with the seal, especially with all the quantity of grease and oil and hydraulic hoses and stuff like that. You may cause more damage than help. All right. Other than that, after a good job, a working day, I use a good rag and I clean all the cylinder, exposed cylinder parts, because you have to remove as much as dirt, because the seal here on the attach on the cylinder, they will remove the dust, but it's easier. You clean it, you oil it, and then you dry it with the rag. You remove everything, so the seal that doesn't get wear down. Okay. Now all these boats I'm pointing at, there's the boat they're talking about to retorque. Okay. So just remember, use the chart. All right, and because they're nylon, so you just be careful about that. Now the the thumb, the mechanical thumb, I think you're able. I'm just gonna turn the camera just a little. Now the nice mechanical thumb thumb that Joe made for me. I have a video about it. I'm gonna put a link again. Everything, all the link video will be in there. How did he create it? How he made it? And yes, that was a great, very interesting videos. And it's easy. Well, it's not easy. It's not that hard to make if you have a good welder, a good steel. But what you can do is use the video, Joe's video, show it to your local welder or machinist if he's welding, and it will be for you very easy to do. All right. Now, if you want to buy one, I recommend that you go see your Mahindra dealer or TYM dealer, because these are made by TYM and they do have thumb for them. All right, because for the Mahindra is 23B, but TYM they have another number and they do carry thumb for it. All right. Now, other than telling you, then read the book. This is the best advice that I can give you. Please be very knowledgeable about your book. All right, read it and make it dirty like I did, basically. And I made 2 videos on how to store it during the winter time or when you're using it. One was my first one. This one is quite popular. It was my like I was using a piece of wood in the back to hold it a little bit higher, and that one was very popular. I made a second one, like exactly how I installed it like this. And this one, what I found for it's more safer because it's lower. It takes more space, but I just like to mention to you that this one is very safe because the Backhoe, yes, it's moving like that, but it's very safe because the pins are on it. Okay, so there's no problem there. Backhoe, it's a very useful thing. It's before you buy a tractor, you have to look what will be your needs, not creating needs, but what will be your needs. And for me, the Backhoe was my first priority. Before that, it was the rear snowblower, of course, and then as I learned, then I had the Joe's front snowplow. That was outstanding one. So yes, but let's say the vital factor on owning expensive subcompact tractor, every type of machinery are expensive, is maintenance. And maintenance start by reading your manual. All right, another tips. Now here, these hoses, that's the where you want to keep it clean, because that's gonna be exposed to dust and they're gonna rub. So basically I use a rag, but I put 2 scuffing pads. I grab them together, I put a scuffing pad there and then another scuffing pad against the steel. So there's a double protection in there. All right, cheers. All right, gentlemen and ladies, thank you very kindly for all the supportive, informative comment that you are leaving on all my videos. And please do ask me any type of question again regarding my video on my tractor and also my backhoe, anything. All right, so I will publish that video very soon. It will be very near of the 4th of July for our American allies. It's 4th of July, it's Independence Day, so happy Independence Day for all of you folks. And today we're the 1st of July, so happy Canada Day late, Canada Day late, or late Canada Day. Anyhow, it's been a rough week. All right, so please take care of yourself, and thank you again for all your supportive comment. All right.